What's going on, guys? Toby here, doing Unit 1B, Chapters 1, 2, 3. Before I get started, if anyone wants to leave a comment for me, are we supposed to be doing a question from each chapter? I'm not 100% sure on that. Didn't want to bug Dr. Hendricks, but if anyone can answer for that, it'd be greatly appreciated. But to get started for Chapter 1, I'm going to do Question 2. How do you interact with and use large-scale social media and legacy media? Can you identify effects that have occurred because of that use? Do you encounter fake news on social media and how do you deal with it? Have you checked other news sources or warned your friends about it? Can you offer any possible negative effects to balance out any positive effects that have occurred from your media use? So how do I interact with large scale social media? I have, for me, personal accounts. I have Twitter. I don't have Instagram. Sorry, I've never had Instagram. Facebook, but I only keep it for birthdays. And then Snapchat. Those are the only social media that I have, but I also help with the social media accounts at work. So I have used Instagram and all the other stuff, but it's for work accounts. And when it comes to legacy media, I haven't watched television in forever. Like, I'm bad about watching movies unless it's on Netflix or something along those lines. Newspapers, I haven't touched one in years. But I work in radio, as you can see, and so I'm constantly doing stuff for advertising for them, where we're trying to get more advertising out for people that are paying us to use anything, and along those lines. But a lot of it for me, even with radio now, all of our interactions, if it's not through telephone, it's through just our social media accounts. Like, people are tweeting at us, adding us on all kinds of accounts, so we're talking to them through there. And then, can you identify effects that have occurred because of that use? We've all been there where we're just bored on our phones. So I could be trying to read chapter 3, and I'm just like, well, Twitter's more entertaining than this. So I'm going to just be on that for a little while and completely distract myself while I should be reading. We've all done it when it's just like you're waiting for something, you're bored, it's whatever. But at the same time, I'd rather be bored on Twitter than just being bored staring off into the sun or whatever you want to do. Have you checked news sources, or do you encounter fake news on social media, and how do you deal with it? Yes, everyone encounters fake news on social media. Everyone knows someone, family member, coworker, friend that's posted some meme of a quote, and they're just trying to seem like they're Braveheart or anything along those lines. That's like just completely taken out of context. It's probably just a meme. It might have Tom Hardy, the actor, or Heath Ledger just as the Joker with the quote, and that doesn't make any sense either, but that people just like to do it. I deal with it. If I know them, I'll call them out, like, just because I have no problem calling out friends. It's like friends should be able to do that. But if it's someone I don't know, or just I'm like, well, block, mute, whatever else you want to do, I was like, I'm just not going to deal with that. Have you checked other news sources and warned your friends about it? Yeah, I'll tell my friends, like, hey, or if they post something, immediate DM once I see it, like, this is wrong and this is why, and here are the sources on why it's wrong. You're probably not going to change their mind on it. I know I haven't changed a lot of friends just because they want. It doesn't matter. Fake news is just what they don't like now. It's not actual fake news. It's just news you don't like. And can you offer any possible negative effects to balance out any positive effects that might have occurred from your media use? My attention span was already bad, so just being on Twitter doesn't help. But yeah, nothing crazy. Like, I've had more positive effects from social media than anything. Met some cool people, met great people. Got my first internship 10 years ago through Twitter, just from tweeting with the boss at an ESPN radio station. And so, yeah, I was like saying, he liked my content. So I have a lot more positives than negatives for that. For chapter 2, I will go with question number 3. Can the traditional news media ever truly be liberal, given their corporate ownership and their reliance on advertising for their survival? Well, I don't think anything's truly liberal. Like, you're going to have right wing, you're going to have people that are more liberal, given their corporate ownership stuff and advertising. I'm like, if it's based on, like, if you're making money or need money, I was like, nothing's ever going to be truly liberal, because I feel like everything's owned. What's the running joke for the last 10 years, 15 years? Like, 6 companies own everything. Like the Koch brothers owning Disney all the way to Fox News or whatever it is. But then, let's see. As like in the face of evidence that many are very successful, openly conservative media outlets do complaints that media are too liberal and actuality applied online to those outlets critics might dislike. People just, in my opinion, people just don't like. You can get your news from Fox News which is whatever, CNBC, CNN, okay, whatever. But when you start using Breitbart or One News Network as your main news sources and saying everything else is too liberal, I just can't take you too seriously. And so I think, like I said, it's like do complaints like this and outlets critics might dislike. I'm like, people are going to be critical of everything they don't like nowadays. As I just said, like it's not fake news anymore. Fake news just means news I don't like or I don't want to be real. And should nonprofit news media be replaced by nonprofit public service oriented news media? I mean, if you want something that's nonprofit, you can find it. There's small town newspapers, small local stations. You got the, what was it, NPR. I was like, but I'm not going to tell anyone that needs to be replaced just because they're in the business to make money. And so if making money means serving or trying to run news stories that are a little bit more extreme or any way you want to call it, I was like, that's their business. That's their business. They can do what they want. It's just up to people to know the difference between what's real, it's considered real news, and what's considered phony baloney and all that. And then chapter 3, where are we at? Chapter 3 will be question number 3. Is there a need for social media to act more responsibly? If so, what specific actions must be changed and how might this be done? Are you optimistic that large-scale social media will engage in useful self-regulation? Why or why not? If they don't do so, what should be done? Is there a need for social media to act more responsibly? No. Like, they're private businesses. I'm like, to be honest, they're acting more responsibly than a lot of news media stations that are extreme on either side. And so I don't think they need to be do anything. Like they had a lot of people in a fit, throwing upset that either like Alex Jones or Donald Trump are the big ones. I remember getting banned from social media sites like Twitter's, Instagrams, YouTube's. And I'm like, I'm sorry, these are private companies. It's not a right. You're not losing freedom of speech. These aren't rights to be on these. These are privileges. And so if you broke their rules or what they think you broke their rules, you're out of there. So I'm completely okay with how they've done and that they've self-regulated themselves great. Facebook might be the only exception with the way they've handled everything with selling data and all that jazz, but I'm not going to get into that. So yeah, social media are probably more responsible than most news stations. So I'm 100% okay with everything they've done. And that wraps it up, guys. So if you have any questions, concerns, comments, feel free to leave them. Like, subscribe, comments. And I'm looking forward to hearing some of y'all stuff. And so I'll be talking to you guys soon. Bye, guys.